I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm grateful.
Hell yeah. Let's get this going. We're live. We got a little surprise episode. I'm here with CRUMB TV. We are going to get it going, talk about some wild shit. Welcome in, CRUMB, and I'll let you introduce yourself and let them know where you can find you.
Peace and love, family. I'm your humble brother Crumb. I go by the moniker The Master Student. You can find me on, well, I used to be on YouTube. I was 50,000 strong. They took me off of that for hate speech, but yeah, that's what I do. I am currently on Facebook. I like to call it Fake Book. I'm almost at a quarter of a million. We're getting there. I'm also on Instagram. This is my second Instagram. Instagram I had like maybe 50,000 before. I'm finally getting back to there. I was on TikTok, but TikTok, that's in China there is no free speech, and I learned that the hard way. But ultimately, I am right here. 6G podcast. Peace and love, family.
Hell yeah, welcome on, man. It's good to have you. And yeah, I'm real excited to I looked at some of your stuff and man, you got some great takes, especially with the Peter Thiel technocratic aspect of things going on. And yeah, I like the way you kind of produce it. It's unique. And yeah, CRUMB TV, definitely check it out, guys. I think it's worth checking out. But yeah, man, it's hard not to go on the Zionist blacklist these days, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on every list except the Epstein.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. Unless it's about people talking about him. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I actually just broke down regarding the Epstein stuff today. Did you see that World War III email? Apparently, tomorrow is going to be a nuclear World War III kicked off during the Super Bowl and shit. It was in the emails, apparently. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I didn't. I didn't even know the Super Bowl is tomorrow. I'm so late.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it is apparently. But yeah, so there was, I checked it out, and it was just a fake email that out there get people going. There's a lot of that fake shit out there now, man. So it's good to see some people that actually take a good take. But of course, they try to keep you down. Now, I noticed you're pretty good at building a following, though. I mean, 30,000 ain't bad if you have 50 before. So you're gonna have to throw me some pointers, man. I barely even post shit, really. I just kind of do the show on here. So, but yeah, I'm gonna have to get some pointers from you. So, where do you want to take it? What kind of stuff do you want to talk about?
Well, I think the conversation of the hour is going to be Yakub.
All right, cool. Perfect, perfect. All right, cool. Well, I want to know what is Yakub?
So Yakub, according to the Nation of Islam, take with a grain of salt, is the big head scientist, the father of all so-called white people. Um, I can kind of go into that a little bit deeper, or if you have some questions, I'll just kind of follow your lead.
No, definitely. Is this the Jacob of the Bible?
Yes, and I'm so glad you connected those dots. Yaqub, and according to the Nation of Islam, is the same Yaqub who is Jacob in the Bible. The Y, the K are, I'm sorry, excuse me, the Y and the J are both interchangeable.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so Jacob, obviously would have been the first Jew in the Bible that was named, right? That would have been the creation of that. So that's kind of intriguing. And so, what is the difference? So, where do they get the story of Yakub from? Does it come from the Quran or?
Well, the Quran is the baby. It was the last of the holy books. And Judaism is kind of technically the father, which is not the father. It's Zoroastrianism, but Zoroastrianism is a little bit offbeat. It's not popular. People don't know about it. So for the three major world religions, the oldest is going to be uh, the Torah, the Tanakh, um, or Old Testament, as most people are more familiar with it as. So ultimately, the story starts when we're dealing with God. The concept of God could easily be the concept of aliens. Let's just put it out there. Where is heaven? Heaven's up there. Where are aliens? Aliens up there. When we're dealing with God, God said, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, Jesus. Jesus said, I'm from up there. You're from down here. Bro, you sound real ET-ish right now, the way you talking. Monotheism, which is really the granddaddy of Zoroastrianism and all of that jive. Monotheism was brought to you by a dude named Akhenaten. Are you familiar with Akhenaten?
I've heard the name. Who is that?
Akhenaten is another Yakub. He's a big head scientist. He
Hmm.
comes 3,000 years after Yakub, but this story or the concept of a big head scientist is not exclusive to Yakub from the Nation of Islam or Jacob in the Old Testament. So now when you see Akhenaten, Akhenaten is a real person. He's most famous because he's been hidden, but he's most famous for his wife. Have you ever heard of Nefertiti,
Of course, yes.
the most beautiful?
Egyptian, yeah.
Now you may not know Nefertiti got a big ass head. Remember Roger from American Dad?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how big Nefertiti and Akhenaten's heads are. Akhenaten's son, King Tut. Ever heard of him?
Of course.
So we're going to see that this is one of the most famous royal families in the world, Craig, in the whole world. That was a Friday After Next line from
Oh yeah.
Mike Epps. So yeah, Akhenaten. Some people say Akhenaten is an alien, and Akhenaten brings you monotheism. Akhenaten, uh, there was something called the Tertulli Pyrus from the archivist, chief librarian of the library under the I'm thinking the word Vanderbilt, the Vatican. Underneath
Mm,
the Vatican, there's a library. The chief archivist librarian, his name was Tertulli. Tertulli, when he died, and they uh, cleaned out his house, they found the Tertulli Papyrus from the 18th dynasty from Akhenaten. It said in the Tertulli Papyrus that Akhenaten had a spaceship. This is underneath the Vatican. So when
mhm.
I say God versus alien, tomato, tomato. So the whole thing about Yakub, just like Akhenaten, he's an alien. That's where the story starts with these gods, with these aliens.
Mm. Yeah, that's crazy. So, could he in any way be connected to Hermes Trismegistus? Is that like different timeline, or is that like kind of interchangeable people? Because I know that Thoth, Hermes, these are interchangeable kind of concepts with people. Is Akhenaten another version of this, or is this like later on?
No, well, Thoth or Hermes predates Akhenaten.
Hmm.
Akhenaten occurs 3,000 years ago. Hermes appears at the dawn of time. Remember, Hermes resides originally in Atlantis. Atlantis was one of the very first civilizations the world has ever known. Hermes
Hmm.
was over there. Her- Hermes had what we call a perfect death, if ever there was such a thing. He has a perfect death, meaning when he died, he takes all his stuff, meaning his thoughts. And when he's reborn with all of his thoughts, reincarnates, whatever. And he has three perfect births. Talk about the Immaculate Conception, right? So with that said, Hermes Trismegistus, we know tri means three. Um, and Hermes Trismegistus just means three times great, three times perfect birth. First
Hmm.
was the last one was Hermes. He's known as Hermes. The second one he's known as Tahuti. The first one he's known as a second one he's known as Thoth. The first one he's known as Tahuti.
Oh, so you're saying it's multiple literal reincarnation. See, I imagine it as thrice greatest, reborn in the sense of enlightened in the physical, mental, and spiritual space. The three. I always likened it to that. But literal reincarnation, that's intriguing because whenever you get into the idea that a lot of people think that Jesus was just an ascended master, similar to a Krishna character, etc. And Hermes would have been another one. And so that just tells, I just wondered if Yakub or Akhenaten would have been another iteration of this. But no, this is separate, huh? That's crazy. So how was this guy different? Like as far as how was he an alien? Did it describe where he came from or that he was born of half angel and man or what?
Well, yeah, referring to Yakub, the Yakub story is best told in the movie. What was that movie called with a big head scientist? Um, and he creates the white boy. I mean, just give me a second. The movie is called. Let me see. Can I Google it? Cartoon movie
That's like
Big
Mastermind
Hit
or something.
Megamind. Ooh, good.
Megamind, yeah, Megamind.
The story of Megamind is simply the story of Yakub. So essentially, within the story of Yakub, Yakub, his mom, well, his dad family come from the planet Risk, RIZQ. They leave their planet because there's war, and this is according to the Bible. Oh, Crumb, I can't wait to go to heaven. Well, there's a war in heaven. Didn't Jesus tell you, as it is above, so it is below? You think it's war down here, but it's not war up there. He said it just like below it is above. There was a war in heaven, in the galaxy, Star Wars, right? So the whole Star Wars things takes place. They go and seek refuge on a desolate planet. But the planet wasn't desolate. There was a eugenics program going on. There is no such thing as evolution. Evolution is a cover for eugenics. So they go to this eugenics planet, and they go to the inner Earth. The inner we are um, terrestrials. Aliens are extraterrestrials. They're from up there. There are inner terrestrials as well. So now the inner terrestrials, there were already terrestrials here. I'm sorry, inner earthlings here. They were um a benevolent group of reptilians. I won't get into that right now. But these
Benevolent.
people, yeah, there's more than one type of reptilian.
Okay, okay. No, I was surprised you said benevolent. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Shocker.
yeah. They always tell us, the news, if it bleeds, it leads. You'll never hear anything good about the good reptilians.
Mm.
Um, well, well, let me ask you this: do you know a lot of people that have you ever heard anything good about dragons? Any stories about, dragons being good? They heal. You know, they have armored scales. They're telepathic. They're vegans. They don't eat people. But they were hunted at one point in time. Dragons. A lot of people will tell you there are good dragons. Have you ever heard of good dragons?
No, no. Only
What about
the slaying of the dragon only.
Kundalini?
Of course, the
Yeah,
spirit, serpent spirit.
the serpent spirit. That's a good dragon. So there are all types of good reptilians, but if it bleeds, it leads. They're only going to tell you about the bad because they want to scare you. Remember, this is loose harvesting. They want you to get into a petrified state so they can harvest your energy. Anyway, so these people, these aliens, they come into inner earth seeking refuge from the war in heaven that Jesus told you about. As it is above, it is below, so it is below. And while they're in the inner earth, they have some tag-alongs with them. So these are just some big head black people. And there are some big head white people that follow them. It's alluding to the movie Coneheads. You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, these big head aliens. Not grays, but grays have big heads as well. But anyway, so the big head white people, the coneheads, who are in inner earth along with the big head black people, live in a state of segregation. Now, the big head white people, they barely made it from their war. We don't necessarily know about the war that the black people were going to, but let's say it was black on black crime, whatever. But with the white people, they were super benevolent. I would argue they were too benevolent. Too much of anything is bad. They were too peaceful. So when it came to war, they were facing eradication. So they had to do a grafting program. Same thing Hitler did. I don't know. I don't know where we're live at, if I can say Hitler or not.
We'll be all right.
Okay. So they graft out the lowest form of themselves and create another group of people, um, who are called Duro. You're going to see Duro represented with the god Ganesh. Can I share screen or no?
Of course, yeah. Will
Okay,
it let you? Otherwise, yeah, it should prompt you down there.
let me see. Share screen. Windows right here. Boom. Okay, whenever you give me that. So let's go with Duro Inner Earth. Inner Earth. I don't know, monsters. Let's just put Inner Earth, see what comes up. Let me say Duro Inner Earth aliens. Keep it as accurate as possible. So these are your Duro. They're they're big. They're this one he's reddish, but they're more pinkish. They're big, they're pinkish, they're fat, and they have this alien nose. Darrow, Dero. So here's another picture of them. But here's the Darrow look benevolent, but the Darrow are the most evilest part of their creator overlords. So the Darrow, I think it's Ganesh. Ganesh, God. Almost there. God.
Mm-hmm. That's the
Ganesh
Hindu god.
is a deification of Deros. So now these Dero, they become let's say rowdy, and they start causing mischief with the black big head scientists. I'm sorry, not scientists, but the big head aliens. So the black big head aliens go to the cone heads and like, hey, listen, you're Darrow. They're messing stuff up, so to speak. And there's about to be a war in inner Earth, just like as it is above, it is below. So to keep the peace, the king of the cone heads gives his daughter to the king of the black big head people, and they marry. But she's in contempt of his black people. She don't want to race mix, so to speak, nor should she, in my opinion. But anyway, so she cheats on the king with his brother, uh, and the king, the black guy, he figures it out, and he banishes her and his brother to the surface of the earth where people age, like you and me. And inner earth, they don't age, or if they do, they age in terms of gods. A million years to God is one, 1,000 years to God is one day for 1,000 years to us is one day for God, and that's how it is in inner earth as well. So they go to the surface of the earth where they have a baby, and that baby is Yakub.
Wow. All right. Well, that is a crazy origin story. So, okay, so a lot of this has its origins a little bit in the Hindu concept of uh not Shambhala. It would have been like the underground kingdom city that floated above the earth and things like that. So, and I have heard so that now I love this kind of shit because I take this kind of approach where I think that there is like, the aliens that we talk about today are the demiurge of the Gnostic religion, or, this kind of some kind of entity, right? These entities that they're contacting, probably creating these technological advancements with all those things. But I don't know about the physical aspect. I think they can manifest into the physical realm as many things as they always have. But I just, I love this kind of train of thought where there is a whole world that they've kind of fleshed out, these demons, you could call them, or aliens. And I don't always take it as like literal physical beings, but I always love going down the rabbit hole with people who have gotten deep into that because I think that's fun. And especially when it relates to real people. Now, I always related these people to being Nephilim, of some sort, being, descendants of some mixture of these angelic beings and humans. What is your take on that aspect, the Nephilims?
So the Nephilim story, the biblical narrative, is going to be almost a mirror image of the Anunnaki story as presented to you by the Russian Jew. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's
Russian Jew.
Sitchin.
Uh,
Sitchin.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very, very impressive. Stitching. That's
Zachariah Sitchin, yeah.
Zachariah Stitching.
Yeah.
So,
Which, by the way, I was gonna say that at the whole concept of aliens being gods came from Jewish Zionists. I mean, that's where it came from. And so I'm always so skeptical because I know that they worship these fallen angel, demiurge, whatever, if you want to go by the Christian, theology, that they worship that. And so, when they get to the secret, because I believe that they're going to bring all the religions into one Luciferian kind of religion. And the way you would do that is maybe get rid of the glory of, say, a Jesus or Krishna, and say all of us can be that, all of us can achieve it, and so it creates this Luciferian man becomes God religion, whether it's through aliens or through AI or whatever they use to do it.
Yeah, the next Messiah will be an AI Messiah. But in terms of Jews, Jews got their swag from Zoroastrianism, as I mentioned earlier. Are you
Hmm.
familiar with Zoroastrianism?
I am a little bit. Is that with
So,
Mithras, or is Mithras involved in that one, or is that just the Mithras cult itself?
no, sir, that's Ahura Mazda,
Yes, yes,
which is
and
their
and
god.
Ahriman, yeah, and Ahriman, yeah.
Their Ahura Mazda is their god. Their prophet is Zoroaster. The prophets 12 disciples were called Magi or Magus
Mm-hmm.
or magicians or magistrates, whatever.
Mega.
So the Jews get caught up in bondage under Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, or I'm sorry, Babylon is the greatest empire of that particular time, but then it's taken over by the Persians. They have their own um, empire that they've built. And under their empire, one of their leaders is King Cyrus. You saw Cyrus's son, King Xerxes, in the movie 300. You see 300, the movie?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Clearly, I watched too many movies. But anyway,
No, I
so
love it.
King Cyrus, he was the one who gave these polytheistic bandits their religion. So there is that prior to Zoroastrianism and prior to the Jews finding out about Zoroastrianism, there was never a prophet, never a concept of heaven, never a concept of hell, never a concept of what are some things that the Zoroastrianism gave us? Heaven, hell, never a devil. All of these concepts come from Zoroastrianism, and the Jew takes it and he makes it a big thing. Prior to
Mm.
that, and even now, if you look in the Bible, hey, who in the Bible's gone to hell? It'll tell you nobody in the Bible has ever gone to hell. In addition to that, the whole concept of heaven that comes from Zoroastrianism, which they called paradise. When Jesus was on the cross with the two thieves, or the thief and the robber or whatever, he says, "Yeah, I'll see you in paradise." Oh, Jesus, you're going to see somebody in paradise, huh? Okay,
Mm.
that's very Zoroastrianism of you, but whatever. But yeah, so that's where that comes from, which kind of ties into the Yaqub story, because Persia, which is modern day Iraq, I want to say, it might be Iran. I get too confused all the time. Iran, excuse me, is Iran, and it's super duper funny that you got all of your swag from Iran and now you beefing with Iran. But Iran, when Iran became a country, the first, because to be whoever you are, you have to be recognized by your peers. So to be a independent nation, you have to be recognized by an independent nation. The first nation to ever recognize Iran was India, next door neighbor. Remember, India is a nuclear power, one of the eight, or maybe nine, but that's up for dispute. So with that said, um, a lot of this stuff is going to come from India. Iran and India are peas in a pod, so to speak. But let me breathe. What say ye?
Well, I'll tell you what, that makes a lot of sense. In sixth century BCE is whenever Zoroastrianism came out, or the prophet Zoroaster came. And have you heard of Rudolf Steiner?
Of course, yes, sir.
Okay, so you know about Ahriman, right? The concept of him. That's the dark. That would be the devil that you mentioned. The concept of the devil, or this dark, everything that embodies evil. And Rudolf Steiner says that we enter the age of Ahriman right around 1886 up until obviously now. Um, And so, what do you think about that? Do you think that that's where we're at right now? Do you feed into the Zoroastrian kind of concept since it's kind of the original, the OG?
Uh, not really. They used it for control. Here's my hot take: there's no such thing as good or bad. There's no such thing as righteousness or evil. What's good to you might be bad to me. What's righteous to me might be evil to you. So now, with that said, good, bad, evil, righteous are all subjective, depending on who you ask, how they feel, where they're at in their mind. Snickers are good. Hey, my daddy ate Snickers all his life and it killed him. I hate Snickers. Snickers are bad.
Do you have that same take with children and sex?
Well, it depends on who you ask. So, somebody said to me,
Exactly,
"Yeah,
that's what I mean. So this reminds me of, like, Aleister Crowley. Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of Crowleyan kind of do as thou wilt to, like, Luciferian kind of, you know, there you can't have white without black, you can't have dark without light, you wouldn't recognize good without evil, right? So therefore, you gotta have all of it, so just do whatever you want, whichever thing feeds you, right? And so, I mean, that's fine. I was just curious, what do you think about that? Have you ever heard of the Aleister Crowley?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard of it, but no, this is not that. I find it interesting. You have that background where it's like a matrix situation, where we live in
Yes.
this matrix. Well,
I think that that's what they're building. That's the 6G agenda that I believe that they're building. I think that they believe we live in a prison planet created by the demiurge, this material realm, to keep us from our eternal place. And we keep getting reincarnated until we pass through the levels, the spheres of heaven, the planetary spheres, the 7 levels of the chakra, if you will. That's their concept. But they believe that we're in a prison planet. I don't think we're in a prison planet. I think that people like Jesus and Krishna have shown us a way to get out of this incarnation, this endless reincarnation. But I believe that they're using, through the manipulation of these entities, these demiurge, they're building the prison planet that they believe we're in already through the matrix system that we've all heard about. Long story short.
yeah, it could be, and nothing is ubiquitous. There's no, my question is, do you know how much all is? Nothing is all.
Right.
So it might be a prison planet, depending on who you talk to. So with that said, in the matrix, there is no good, evil, good, bad, righteous, or evil. In the matrix, there's only cause and effect.
Mm. A causal and causal. So, okay. So I through my readings, now here's the thing. This is the only reason why I get skeptical is only because as I've read about these uh, societies that practice sexual ritual magic, things like that, a little bit satanic magic, they tend to have this same kind of concept of the world. It doesn't mean it's a wrong way to look at the world, but because people that can do such wild, fucked up things view the world in that way, it makes people pause and go, I don't know if maybe that is the right take. You know what I mean? That's kind of the skepticism through people like Michael Aquino, right? And his, he created this temple of Set. He was very into Aleister Crowley, and he did all kinds of fucked up shit to little kids. And it tends to be kind of an ongoing thing whenever you get into these satanic cults, but they tend to also have this same concept of how they view the world. It tends to be through this lens of I do what I want and it's my power over the other. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that? I mean, I'm not disputing. I just was curious. Like, this is just my background from what I've read.
Yeah, no, I think that's something else outside of there's no such thing as good or bad, only cause and effect. So with that, I think there's an ethos. I forgot who said it, but we don't do harm uh to another human being is it's not, for the most part, harm is not subjective. And where we get these concepts from at the end of the day is going to all pretty much come from Sigmund Freud.
Mhm.
Sigmund Freud is the leading psychoanalytic Jew, and this is where we get the ideas of, can we give a child hormone blockers? Oh, it doesn't do harm. Yeah, and it's not good or it's not bad or whatever the case may be. But no, doing harm, I would say, is a little bit less subjective than um, uh, to say good or bad. But with that said, I'll give another example that may be a hot take, if you will. These are the things that get me to go viral. So now, what's the most safest country in the world for women, in your opinion?
For women, probably Japan. If I could think of one off top, I'd probably say Japan.
Okay. Well,
How far off am I?
no, well, I think it's depending on the
Subjective.
person. Yes,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna say America. America is one of the safest countries for women. So whichever that country is, in the safest country for women, who do you protect women from?
I mean, I guess you'd be protecting them from men usually, 9
Not
times
in the
10.
safest country. There's she remember in the safest country in the world, she can go out get drunk. She ain't got to worry about no man. She can wear ass shorts. She ain't got to worry about no man. In the safest country in the world for women, you protect women from themselves.
Mm,
So
okay.
now the is that good or is that bad? I'm gonna tell Susan, bitch, shut the fuck up and sit down. But Susan's thinking I'm doing harm and I'm a bad person when really I'm protecting that dumb bitch from herself because she's gonna go out there and hurt herself. When I when I hold a woman's hand, like I love this when we're having sex or whatever. When I hold her hand like a fucking baby. Get your ass over here before you get hit by a car. Goofy little
That is a wild take. You were right. That is a hot take. I love it. That is funny. Oh man. So what do you think about Fuentes? You think he's got any good ideas whenever it comes to women? He says the key jobs and all that crazy shit. You think he's got ideas?
Yeah, yeah. I would say by and large, Nick doesn't miss. Um,
Until
when
recently, he started kind of he backtracks. I feel like he's been going through a humiliation ritual by his handlers for a little bit. Just a little bit, because not that he has handlers literally, but I just mean that there's a lot of people who could be really anti-Semitic and it just fucking gets pushed in your algorithm really heavily. And they're allowed to kind of say the things that you're not. And I think that that's done to kind of honeypot certain people into it. So, that's just kind of my take on that. Just kind of draws people in like us, right? And gets us on that list. I don't know if you've heard of the Canary Mission or Project Ethel, but these are, or Esther rather, but these are two blacklist anti-Semitic lists that were given to the administration to create. And I think that they use influencers online that say crazy shit that nobody else is allowed to say to kind of get the data on who feels what way.
well, the whole thing about the women empowerment movement, which was initially labeled as women's suffrage in the 1920s, it was relabeled as feminism in the 1970s, just a short hop, skip, and a jump 50 years later. That all of your leading women were all Jewish women. Now,
Mm,
what you may or may not know is that the 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 Jewish community, by and large, has an abolition against family. Well,
mhm,
why would they have something like that? Because they're against uh, uh, Nazi National Socialists. Now, remember, you and I, we were raised as National Socialists. Crumb, why would you say we were raised like Hitler? Because your daddy was Hitler. Remember, your
why is that? No, I love
because
it. I love it. Go ahead. I know you're going somewhere with it.
your daddy didn't get voted in, did he? And your daddy can't be voted out, can he? And your daddy's word is the last word.
All right. I
Your
fuck with that.
daddy was a authoritarian, a totalitarian authoritarian.
What about people's dads that were like pushovers? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
R-
Or
Who
absent.
who who is the most feminine man in the world? The Jewish man. This is the abolition of family where we perpetuate weak dads. So now you're going to look at Family Dad where you have these pussies, and now they're trying to get you to think that dads are pussies. You got Homer Simpson. He's a fucking idiot. They're trying to get you to think that men are idiots.
Right,
Men
right.
are
I
not.
agree with
This
that.
is this is all for the abolition of family. Now the socialist part of it. When you were a kid, you were a burden. You didn't bring nothing to your household. That was the socialist part. We're going to take care of the poor people. Did your daddy take care of the poor people in your house? Oh, he was a socialist. Did your daddy have the last word in the house? Oh, he was an authoritarian.
Are you
You
saying that
grew
the
up.
government are you saying that the government should have these authorities as well, like daddy had? Or are you just saying that we have grown up with that before and that we shouldn't act like it's that crazy?
Well, you ever heard of the nuclear family?
Of course, yeah, and they're trying to destroy it with, trans agendas, etcetera. The same, you have the Jewish people funding it on the left to, push all this and destroy everything and take God out of the schools and instill, trans rights or whatever. And then on the right, you have Zionist, right-wing Shabbat Lubavitch Jews that are pushing the Heritage Foundation 2025 agenda. So it's coming from both angles. I think that it's both angles that they come from, just to destroy the whole country.
Well, when we say nuclear family, nuclear alluding to nucleus, the nucleus of what?
A cell?
The
Or
government.
what? Oh, okay.
The
So,
family,
okay, yeah. So
the nuclear.
you do think that I'm sorry, I didn't there's a little lag. So you do think that there should be, like, national socialist aspects to our government?
God is a nationalist socialist. God is an authoritarian who takes care of the poor people, and his word is final. If you don't do what I do, I'm gonna fucking thunderbolt your ass. Remember when God flooded the earth? I'm killing all of you motherfuckers. I'm done. That was very authoritarian of you, God. You're gonna kill fucking. You're just gonna kill everybody. Yeah, I'm killing them. Fuck it. I'm just fuck all of y'all. When God flooded the earth, that was some deep shit. So now that was very authoritarian of God. Remember when God went against Pharaoh? God said, "If you don't do what I say, I'm gonna kill all the kids." Damn, Gina. If I don't do what God tells me to do, why didn't God just kill Pharaoh? No, 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 no. We're gonna make it hurt. We can kill all the goddamn kids, all the boys. To this day, go around your neighborhood and you're gonna see certain people. I don't care what color their house is. They're gonna have a red door. You ever seen a house with a red? No, the house isn't red. The garage door. They just got a red door. You ever seen anybody with a red door? A
Not
house?
really, no.
Let me see. Can I Google it?
I mean, maybe, like, once
Red
maybe a couple times in my life, I've seen some red doors.
red door house. Why these houses got red doors? Red door house. Let me go to images and share screen real quick.
Well, to your point
Because this
earlier, with Yakub, if he was fucking with genetics and creating white people, which is the story in that one story, in the story and was learning to mix genetics together, to spite God. And so I think that, yeah, definitely there's definitely an aspect to that genetic kind of mix up and that's why he caused the flood. You know what I mean? Because the fucking genes were so everybody was corrupt. You know what I mean?
so now I didn't notice until this particular second. There's a company called Red Door Homes. Damn, Gina. A whole fucking company called Red Door Homes. Do you know what the red door signifies?
No, no, tell me.
The red door signifies that we don't want this authoritarian God to kill our babies. In the Bible, it says, if you don't want God to kill your firstborn son, smear blood on the door, and then God will pass by your house. You got a whole company based on these red doors of this authoritarian, totalitarian God.
Wow. Wow. So you're so the red doors are holy shit. All right. So is this Old Testament shit? Because a lot of people think that the Old Testament God's different than the New Testament God.
Right, and this is where Zachariah Stitchin comes in. And according to the story of the Anunnaki, which the Anunnaki were reptilians, I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but at any rate, uh, Anu comes down with Enki, Enlil, and these lesser gods, these angels, if you will, but they're just a lesser form of reptilian. They come down. Anu looks around. After Anu looks around, Anu leaves and never comes back. Well, what does it got to do with the Bible? In Genesis chapter 1, God comes down, God leaves after Genesis chapter 1, and God never comes back. You never saw anywhere in the Bible what you saw in Genesis chapter 1. Let there be this, let there be that, this, and that. He just speaks and shit happens. Go to Genesis chapter 2 to create Eve. What does God need? God
Yeah,
needs
that's true. That's true. He
God.
needs clay.
He needs clay. He needs ribs, anesthesia. This is chapter 2. Go read chapter 2. He sprays this mist and Adam goes to sleep. Bitch, what? He has sutures. He puts stitches in his rib. Bitch, what? You breathing life into the clay. Bitch, what? What happened to the God in Genesis chapter 1? Let there be Eve, let there be animals, let there be this, let there be that. That God left and never came back, just like in the Anunnaki story per Zechariah Stitchin. Anu comes in Genesis chapter 1. Anu leaves and Anu never comes back. We never saw that God again. The second prominent God we see is Yahweh. Yahweh, according to a lot of theologians, is Enlil, the serpent. Remember, there is no Satan in the Old Testament. The serpent, um, Nagast. That's Enlil. It's Enki.
Hmm.
Remember, Enki is a master eugenicist. Hitler's a master eugenicist. Darwin is a master eugenicist. Jeffrey Epstein is a master eugenicist. There's no such thing as evolution, only eugenics.
Yeah, there's definitely a push for that. I went in deeply into who owns and has started the companies like 23andMe, Ancestry.com. These are majorly Mormon, Latter-day Saints, and or Israeli billionaire and Catholics. Because I don't know if you've ever read the Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop, but he explains how this Catholic and Babylonian, like the same, cabal, essentially, they've hidden between two sides. One is kind of the Mormon, Freemasonic, Jewish, Kabbalistic, whatever, and the other one's Catholicism. And they've kind of spread out and taken over a lot of things. And these people start these companies and then they get these huge DNA databases. Then they go start AI companies. And the AI, I would imagine, is to sort through all the DNA to do what you're saying, the eugenics aspect.
Correct. Where do all the Mormons live at? Do you know?
Utah.
Utah. Well, the funny thing about the word Utah is the letters T and the letters D are interchangeable. You ever heard that before?
T&D, yes. Yeah, before the vowel system.
Correct. So now, not only are the letters T and D interchangeable, we don't go to, and this is black people, we don't go to the store. We go to the store. With that said, the J, excuse me, the Y has been uh, eliminated for all intents and purposes, and it's been replaced with the J, or it's been taken out altogether. That's not Utah. That's Judah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I have heard,
That's
yes. And did you Charlie Kirk was killed in Ogden, which is the serpent in whatever the fuck language that is.
teach.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's some wild shit, dude. In the Mormons, I'm from Missouri, and they said that the Antichrist would come out of Independence, Missouri. And so we ran them out of here. Not me, but a lot of Missourians. And so I got a lot of them went to Utah. And so it's very crazy with the history. I don't know if you know this, but Abraham Jonas, who was a Scottish Rite Freemason, he was the Grand Master of the Northern District. And then at the same time, Albert Pike, I'm sure you've heard of him. Everybody has. He was the Southern District Grand Master at the same time. Abraham Jonas was the first permanent Jewish resident in Quincy, Illinois. Very good friends with Abraham Lincoln. And he's the same man that made Joseph Smith, the man who started Mormonism, a Freemason, 33rd degree on site. Nobody gets made a, Grand Master Mason on site. Did. And he went out and created Mormonism. And so there's your origins there with this same kind of eugenicist kind of cabal that's working in the, yeah, it's very crazy. And a lot of people don't know Abraham Lincoln was close with somebody like that.
You can't make this stuff up. Um, but I want to kind of finish. I know we've kind of been jumping all around the place. I
Yeah,
got
go
so
ahead.
much
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
I want to talk about, but I want to go back
Mhm.
into that Yakub thing. So Yakub,
Please.
his mom and dad are outcast. Now that they live on the surface of the earth, they've basically been condemned to death. Um, and then they eventually die. The mother commits suicide. The father, I think he just dies of old age. I can't remember. Don't get me to lie. So anyway, yeah, his uncle is left to raise him. Hmm, interesting. Let's go back to the Bible because somebody said, read past Genesis. Oh, I'm going way past Genesis, but let's stay in Genesis for a second. So after
I was in the chat.
yeah, shout out to the chat. I see you, I love you, I appreciate you. With that said, so yeah, he lives with his uncle. Well, let's go to Yakub in the Bible or Jacob. Jacob. Now, number one, let's just deal with the words. As you can probably see, I am a bibliophile. Not a term I've uh, adorned myself with. I've been giving that. I've been honored. Crumb, you're a bibliophile. Fine, whatever. So, as a bibliophile, I'm gonna focus on these words. The word Jacob means deceiver. Did you know that?
I think I have heard that because I've done some very deep dives on Jacob. Go ahead.
So, Jacob is a deceiver. So, Jacob, he, when he's born, he's a twin, and he's the second born. We know uh, the family inheritance goes to the firstborn, which is his brother Esau. As he's born, one of the omens is he grabs his brother by the heel. Um, the most famous heel that we know about outside of the Bible is Achilles. And we know the heel is represented through Achilles as a weak spot. But we know, well, you may not know, your feet are your foundation. Your feet represent your religion. So this is his Achilles heel, his weak religion, whatever. So he's holding his brother by the heel upon birth. They're kind of telling you what's about to happen. So not only that, they grow up and he's a house body. He's for lack of a better word, he's a pussy. He's hiding under his mama's skirt. And his brother's built Ford tough. His brother's built like um Dwayne the Rock Johnson. This dude is a monster of a man. So with that said, he's been out in the woods. He's a woodsman. Now we know a man who, you know, hold on. Okay, that's not me. So his brother is a woodsman, and a man who's out in the woods could be considered a little bit animalistic. I'm not necessarily in a position to take baths. I might have to eat raw food. I might have to make my own fire. I might have to, does a bear shit in the woods? Yeah, I might have to be like a bear. So with that said, his brother's stomach touching his backbone. I don't know if your stomach ever touch your backbone, but that's
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah.
So his little brother, Jacob, he's a fucking Martha Stewart ass nigga. You out here cooking uh deviled eggs and all this goofy stuff, wearing your little apron. You're really cute, Jacob. So Jacob, after 3 days in the woods, this is kind of alluding to Jesus. You remember Jesus was in the woods and he was hungry as a hostage. And the devil comes to Jesus like, hey, you hungry, ain't you? So Esau comes out of the woods, he's hungry, and Jacob, the deceiver, he says, "Oh, you're hungry, ain't you? Well, I done made a pot of ramen noodles, chicken flavor. You know you like chicken flavor, right?" So he says, "Yeah, I would like a good, you ever had ramen noodles?"
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure you in America. Yeah, so
Yeah.
with that, the poor man's meal,
Yeah. We
13
call
cents
it
a
we call
pack.
it we call it soup in the hood.
Hey, you already know. So with that said, um, we know it has no real value. Not only does it not have a financial value, it doesn't have a real nutritional value. You just eat it when you're hungry, put something on your stomach, get your vision back. You can move on, maybe get you some steak and potatoes or whatever. So now he says, "I'll sell you this this ramen noodle soup, chicken flavor. All right, well, how much will you sell it to me for? I'll sell it to you for your birthright. Damn, Gina, you want me to sell my birthright, which is worth a million gazillion dollars, for a 13-cent pack of ramen noodles? Bruh. Bro, what did Michael Jackson say? Jew me, sue me, everybody do me. Bro, you Jewed your brother. You fucking Jewed your brother with that deal. So now, that Jacob means deceiver. Jacob means swindler. You fucking swindler. You swindled your brother. All right, I got you. Not only do you swindle your brother,
It's also a name for Israel.
amen, church. After you swindle, brother, do you know who the number one victims of scamming are in America in 2026?
I mean, I'd assume the elderly.
The elderly. After you swindled your brother, because your brother, he not, brains, he's bronze over brains. He's not brains over bronze. You go swindle an old fucking man, your daddy? Your daddy is blind, bro. Your daddy's blind. He's old. He done paid so many taxes to this country. And you fucking gonna swindle him? You and your bitch ass mama gonna swindle your daddy the same way that Gaia, um, who was it? Zeus, Zeus's mama, Rhea and Gaia, Zeus's grandmama, swindled they daddy Kronos. The exact same way you go and swindle your daddy. Bro, I'm not gonna forgive you for that. For what you did to that innocent old man. You swindled him to seal the deal. So after
That's another hot take. Kronos is innocent. I'm sorry, that's awesome.
Kronos got tricked, but I don't want to go there just yet.
No, please. I don't want to take you there. I just thought that was funny, please.
After Jacob, after the shit hits the fan, Jacob go live with his uncle. And his uncle name is Laban. Bro, Laban means white. Hold on. Let's back up. So we got this dude, Yaqub, according to the Nation of Islam, he creates white people. And Yaqub, after shit go down, he got to go live with his uncle. And in the Bible, fucking Jacob, the fucking swindler, because remember, Yaqub creates 120 degrees of tricknology. Jacob is a fucking trickster. You go and trick your brother, then your daddy, and now you got to go live with your uncle, and his name is Laban, meaning white. And then Jacob, Yaqub, he starts a fucking breeding program. They're killing babies and all types of weird shit. And now Jacob in the Bible, Yaqub, he does the same fucking breeding program where he changes spotted goats to white goats. Bruh.
That's crazy.
You can't make this ish up.
No, and it ties into this a little bit, and I just wanna express this and see what you think. People talk about Revelation a lot and how they talk about 666, the number of the beast, right? Well, somebody broke this down, and I think this is very pertinent to what you're saying a little bit. And I think it's true. They say there's the number, the sign, and the name of the man is 666, right? So the Jewish star, Israel, the Star of David, I should say, rather, Star of Remphan, whatever you want to say, is a 6-pointed star. It's got 6 triangles and a hexagram with 6 faces. 666, right? It represents Israel. Israel is the name. Interchangeable also with Jacob, right? Who also is the name. So Jacob or Israel would be the name of the beast, right? And only to say, if Jacob was doing this genetic engineering, and all this genetic engineering going on now is coming mostly from Tel Aviv into Silicon Valley with all this AI and all this shit. Like, it starts with them and then it comes here and we act like we're the innovators. But realistically, it's coming from Israel. And so it seems like it holds true, that prophecy, a little bit.
According to the Nation of Islam, The first devil was a black devil. Oh, Crumb, we the Jews. I know you dirty niglet. It's okay. It's okay. I see you holding that grin. You biting it. Let it go. It's okay. Let it
You're
out.
just funny, bro. I love it. You're just funny, bro. It is funny. No, because I mean, I haven't met most people who have probably read into and met as many people as I have that look at. I met it. I had a homie named Sahir. He passed away, but he was kind of Muslim, but he was big into conspiracies, kind of with this shit. Talked about Mecca and the big spaceship, the mothership, and how it describes it, and we got into a lot of conversations similar to this. And yeah, I enjoy it because it's been a long time since I had this conversation. So
There's a Negro spiritual. Not to say that you would know it or anything, but I'd like to sing it for you. Not that I could sing, but just bear with me. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to bring me home. What you talking about? What are you talking about? Swing low, sweet chariot, coming to take me home. Oh, I know what you're talking about. You talking about when the aliens come and this chariot is a mother ship. Black people been talking about aliens coming to take them home since the plantation.
is that where that song comes from?
That's exactly where that song comes from.
Really? That's
That's called
crazy.
an old Negro spiritual. Amen.
Amen. Dude, that's crazy, bro. Oh man. Tell me more about Yakub's uncles and brothers. So what happened with the goats after that? They just keep genetically engineering more animals, or what happened after that?
Well, let's get away from the Bible. Let's go into the story of Yakub. Yakub creates white people after he gets banished from Mesopotamia. And he creates white people on the island of Patmos, the very same island that John wrote the book of, I guess they're reptilians, the book of Revelations. So these white people, they come from off the island and they go back from which they came, which is Mesopotamia. The king of Mesopotamia banishes them. You have to cross the burning sands. The burning sands, Crumb. What you talking about? Like masons, like Shriners. If you want to be a mason, you got to cross the burning sands. We don't believe in no Yakub. You don't. Interesting. Because y'all be crossing them burning sands like the white people had to do in order to even get to the Caucasus Mountains. Oh, they're Caucasus. The Caucasus. So they're from the Caucasus Mountains. No, they're not from the Caucasus Mountains. So let me back up. Are you familiar with Jean Champollion?
Mm-mm.
Jean Champollion was the French dude who decoded the Medu Neter using the Rosetta Stone. And he decodes it the same way that the Enigma machine, Hitler's code, was broken. Hitler's code was broken because of two words: weather report, which is, I'm sorry, weather report is the first one, because it kept appearing over every single note that they sent had the weather report on it. They used that word and Heil Hitler. Those were the two words that were considered the constant. We're constantly seeing, so whatever the code is, we know that says weather report, and at the bottom it says Heil Hitler. That's how they broke Hitler's Enigma machine and his inscription. Well, uh Jean Champollion, the French archaeologist, does the same thing with the Rosetta Stone. He breaks the Medu Neter with two words. The first word is Cleopatra. The second word is Tamahu. Tamahu is alluding to white people, meaning created people. So these created people came from Yakub, and they cross the burning sands, then they go into the Caucasus Mountains where they're roped off for 1,000 years. Well, while in the Caucasus Mountains, a lot of them lose their being civilized, and they not evolve, they devolve. So not all of them devolved. There were some still in there who had their righteous minds, and the ones in there who had their righteous minds, they do a genetic program to reverse the works of Yaqub to turn themselves black. The outcome of this second experiment is the troglodyte. First is the Tamahu. These are the children of Yaqub. Second is the troglodyte. These are the ones that they try to reform back into black people. Uh, a lot of white people, not a lot, but some, where you see they'll have a black spot, it's usually hair that grows out of that black spot, alluding to the troglodyte. After the troglodyte, they leave the caves because there's a lack of salt for their for reproduction. They kidnap Nubian women and go down to the river Ganges because life is born from the Ganges, and that's where the flugel rod is born. But let's just kind of don't worry about the Flugelrod. Don't worry about the troglodyte. Let's just deal with the Tamahu. The Tamahu is in the caves and he's been roped off for 1,000 years. So this guy, if you believe in this stuff, this guy, he comes in there. His name is Moses, and he tries to reform them, and he teaches them every day. And every night he sleeps inside of a ring of fire. So he leads them out of the caves. The first ones he leads out of the caves are, they call them Highlanders. Their leader, his name outside of Moses, was Conan the Barbarian, because these are barbarians. And once he led them out of the caves, he takes them on a trek to the back door of the caves. When he takes them on that trek to the back door, he leads them to a land called Khazar or Khazaria. 2 steps into Khazaria, they kill Moses. Oh, crap, this is crazy. Well, hold on, back up. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Sigmund Freud in the book he wrote on his deathbed called Moses and Monotheism, alluding to these big head scientists like Akhenaten and Yaqub. And
Wow.
so this Moses character, Moshe, as the Hebrews call him, led them into the land of Khazaria, and they killed him right before they went into the land of they became the Khazars, and they felt guilty according to uh the
Freud.
dude Sigmund Freud, and because they feel guilty, they honor him to this day. They honor him till this day because they feel bad about what they did to him, according to that book Moses and Monotheism that Freud wrote on his deathbed. And the reason he wrote that book on his deathbed is he said, if I would have published that book while I was alive, I would have ruined my legacy. We wouldn't know who he is today, because that book, even though he's the leading Jew, is considered anti-Semitic.
Wow. Well, you know what's funny about that? All the most anti-Semitic or plagiarized fakes, whatever, usually written by Jews. That's kind of how it goes. They usually discredit their own works and say it's fake, when in reality it's detailing everything they do or plan to do. Take Protocols of Zion, for instance, written by the secret police of Bolsheviks. We know who the Bolsheviks really were, and then they say, no, it's fake. Just like the Andania plan for South America, is written again. We got Israeli backpackers lighting, fires in Argentina. Like, they don't plan on doing what was written in the fucking plan. And again, with Sigmund Freud's book, I'm sure it's the same thing. I'm gonna have to read that. That is crazy. Holy shit. So that's how they ended up in Khazaria from the Caucasus Mountains. And we're talking about a certain sect of people. And this would be this particular group that seems to also have its fucking hands on everything as we've progressed through the world.
These are the Tamahu, and they're the first ones to be led out of the caves of the Caucasus Mountains. They're the first ones. And they were led by a man named Moshe, or who we know as Moses. And they take pride in that, to say that they're better than the rest. Now, the Flugelrod, who was born in the Ganges, he leaves the Ganges and he becomes an Aryan. He's a whole different thing, and this is why I don't argue with anybody. I don't argue anybody. I don't. You got to pay me to debate me, because it's not going to be worth my time otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Jews and white people are not the same, and this is my little joke. I don't knows. You don't knows. Nobody knows except the knows. Those Khazarians went through a hell of a bottleneck. More than half of your Khazarians right now come from just four women. Just four. Did you know that?
That's crazy. It reminds me of the Genghis Khan shit. You know, he wipes out all those people and impregnates a shit ton. I was like, I wonder if he was fucking part of this tribe.
Yeah, well, the Mongolians fucked the Khazarians up badly. The Mongolians were the ones who were thought to snuff out the kingdom of Khazaria.
Mm,
Khazaria was one of the first biggest empires of East Europe, only to fall to the Mongolians. Not only Genghis Khan, but Attila the Hun. They were fucking everybody up at that particular time. Um, but yeah, with that said, they come from four women. This is where the concept of the Jewish mother comes from. That's why um, when you see a Aryan who comes from the Flugelrods, the original Aryans are blonde hair, blue eyed, and I keep saying alkaline. It's alkaline or alkaline nose. And that's why if you see an albino Indian dude, he looks like a regular white dude. But a Jew, the Jew don't look like a white dude. The Jew is swarthy, not swarthy like me, swarthy like a dark white person. That's why every time you see a caricature of a Jew, they're going to have a weird color skin. I'm writing a book called Anti-Semitism for Kids, aka Finding.
I love it. That is hilarious. So my mom's side has some Jewish in him. So, with the Zionist aspect of everything, and the understanding that there is a difference between some of this. I do see what you're saying also, that there is also this aspect that can't be ignored. But the Anglo-American banking cabal can't be ignored. I don't know how much of the Frankists that kind of ended up being like the Eastern Europeans and going out. I don't know how much of them came from the Khazarians. What is your take on Asians and Arabians and other white people that aren't Khazarian? How do they come about in this story? If it Because the way this story kind of comes off to most people is there was black people, and then white people were made, and then the rest kind of doesn't really get fleshed out. Like, what about the Asians, the Arabian? What about everybody else? I'm just curious if that gets fleshed out.
Well, yeah, and I'll say this again: the first devil was a black devil.
Right.
So I don't want to hear this black supremacy shit too much
Yeah.
because, but before there was a white man, a scapegoat.
Hmm.
There was a black man that, oh, it was the Jew. The Jews are at the heart of all this bullshit. No, you nigglets at the heart of this bullshit. Let's just keep it a thou wow. So now, with that said, um, the idea of eugenics. Let me start there. The idea of eugenics. Typically, they're going to say it starts with Darwin. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Darwin is the one who brings in evolution and all of this stuff, and he starts studying like plants.
Right.
So let me see if I can just share a screen one more time
While
to
you
kind
do
of
that,
just please.
did you know that Julian Huxley, Aldous Huxley's brother, both of them are the sons of Darwin's bulldog? And Julian Huxley was a eugenicist. His brother is the guy who wrote Brave New World, Doors of Perception, talking about how people will love their servitude if we just do certain things. Have you heard of Aldous Huxley? Are you familiar with this person?
No, sir.
I'll have to show you him later. It's absolutely crazy because yeah, it's a multi-generational thing. Sigmund Freud's nephew owns Netflix. It's crazy. So
Um, Darwin creates evolution. Charles Darwin is widely considered the father of evolution. Fine. Now, Darwin creates zoology. Charles Darwin revolutionized zoology and biology by introducing the theory of evolution. Fine, no problem. Darwin started with taxonomy. Darwin's theory of evolution was rooted in his deep practical experience with taxonomy. Fine, no problem. Darwin learned taxonomy from a black man. Black people started this shit, not in a good way either. Charles Darwin learned the art of taxonomy essentially from preserving the species, blah, 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 from John Edmonstone, formerly an enslaved black man. This is
Mm.
the dude who got all of this shit started.
So does this get into like the Boule Society, kind of this idea that there is like a sect of black people that work with this Anglo-American cabal that is doing this? Does this kind of get into that aspect? Because I know there's been a lot of black inventors that have been, obviously their works have been overshadowed by whoever the white person was that was the real scientist in the room. But realistically, there's been a lot of black inventors who have been kind of hidden for their works. I wonder how much of it is, yeah, but go ahead.
Well, black people want to play victim, and they this is why I don't deal with a lot of black people, because it's romantic black history. I
Mm.
don't play. Oh, we're just going to tell the good side of black people, and anything else we're going to call it racism. Brother, you ever heard of a jackalope?
No, I have now.
My grandma had a jackalope in her house. Never talk about it. Never spoke about it.
What?
We had a jackalope, and I'm like, so and I was a kid. I couldn't even. Hey, what's going on with the jackalope? So this is from taxonomy. So
Wow.
maybe not a jackalope, because a lot of black people had it. Lucky rabbit's foot. Now you probably heard of the Lucky's rabbit's foot. I'm sure you heard of that.
Of course, yeah.
This is a part of taxonomy.
Yeah, so is a deer head. You get a deer head, a lot of white people got those in their house.
Right, right. Which is
Yeah,
a little more common.
yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna go back to Jacob. Jacob, goat, uh, goat herder, goat herder. So Jacob went to his uncle Laban's house, and he starts breeding these goats. Check.
Hmm.
Now I told you he was doing experiments on these goats. You ever seen a goat with a fat ass?
No, I haven't.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Goat with fat butt. I'm just gonna put fat butt with fat butt.
God damn.
Let
That's
me, let me, let
fucking
me
freaky. That's what
this
they're
is
putting in the food? They're putting that shit in the food, huh?
this is the first BBL.
God damn.
This is a Yaku BBL.
Yaku BBL. Oh man, dude, that's fucking that's ugly, dude. That's something.
Jacob goat.
Damn.
So not only do they have the goat with the fat
Somebody's
ass,
fucking dude, somebody's fucking that, dude. Some fucking sick motherfuckers getting
these
in there.
people. you- yes, I'll just keep it at that. Yes. So this is called a Jacob goat, or a Jacob sheep with the double horns. Does it look a little bit satanic to you?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, brother. Do you know what a kid is?
Yeah, like a baby goat.
Anybody ever call you a kid?
No. I mean, I'm
Really?
sure before. Yeah, when I was a
I was
kid,
gonna
probably.
say, when
Yeah.
we were kids, they called us kids. Why the fuck they call us kids? Because they were doing breeding experiments with goddamn goats.
Oh.
So now, clone the first clone that everybody acknowledged. Do you know what the clone's name was?
No, no. What was it?
Dolly. You don't remember Dolly? I don't know how old you are.
I do now that you said that. Yes, yes. I didn't remember off top.
Okay, so Dolly's the first clone? Bro, if this don't scream Yakub, I don't know what does. This screams Yakub.
Is,
Dolly,
is Dolly
kid,
related to Yakub?
this is all in the spirit of these fucking black devils who are doing all this goofy shit with animals. The jackalope, the kid, the fucking all of this goofy shit. Um
Damn.
uh hold on. This is Jew.
Was Dolly Parton the first one to get the massive titty implants or no?
Ah!
That's it. I'm just curious.
I don't know. But
Oh,
images.
that's good. She's old
There's
enough.
this. Yeah, she is. Um
Now look at
there's
the
this
ring.
picture of a dude. Jews look like goat art. I can't find
I
it,
think it's top
but
right. Is top right good? At the very right there.
nah. It's a dude who uh, Jewish looks like goat art. 17th century. So a lot of Europeans were calling out the Jew and said, "Y'all some goat looking motherfuckers."
Mm,
Ultimately, and the dude had drew pictures of Europeans, of Jews, and these Jews were looking like fucking goats.
damn.
Um,
So
but
Yakub is fucking around with goat DNA too, huh?
brother, I'm preaching to the choir. Amen, church.
Yes, sir. I'm
So,
following.
so this breeding program going back to the Bible for Black people creating these other groups of people. Where did I want to go to? Zachariah Stitchin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so Zachariah Stitchin says they first created these. They don't call them black people, they call them woolly haired people. We can kind of read between the lines. Of course, there was no such thing as black until like maybe recently. Nobody was called black in a, back then. That's some new school shit. So
Mm-hmm.
they create these woolly haired people in the Fertile Crescent. This is inky. They create them from the hominids. They come to this earth, the Anunnaki caravan. They come to this earth and this realm, and they want to have slaves. The first slaves that they have are the Greys. The reptilians created the Greys. The reptilians create the Greys, and the Greys are usually a submissive race of genetic experiments created by the Anunnaki who do their bidding. But in this case, the Greys find it hard to breathe in this atmosphere, so they revolt. And this is an unexpected revolt. We've never seen the Greys revolt before. So in this atmosphere, the Greys revolt because they can't breathe. Shout out to George Floyd. I'm joking. Uh, these Greys were apparently in Minnesota. I'm just joking.
They're still there.
Right. So to replace the Greys, Inky gets approval from Anu to experiment on the hominids and create a slave race. But in order to do this, he's going to have to use some reptilian DNA. That's why you and people are, oh, the reptilians, crumb, bitch, you the reptilian. We the reptilians. Y'all sitting here, these black devils wearing that damn reptile on their it's called a uraeus as a part of their crown. You got a fucking uraeus as a part of your crown. How the hell you talking shit about reptilians? When you go into your highest energy, you call that reptilian energy. How
Yeah.
the fuck are you? Somebody in the comments, you got a fucking reptilian brain. The core of your brain is reptilian. Crumb, yeah, you sound good. We the reptilians, but we don't slither. Bitch, you slithered up your mama's vagina. You fucking frog ass reptilian tadpole motherfucker.
And so, I mean, to your point, evolution is not real. Why do we have a reptilian brain? Why do we have so much DNA that matches different animals the way it does?
Because of
Yeah.
Inky.
You don't
So
find that in other animals, I don't believe. You don't find this large conglomeration of pig DNA inside of monkeys. you don't find things like that, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm not a geneticist, but I'm almost positive that's not the case.
Correct. Parietal, parietal eye. Have you heard of the parietal eye?
I have not.
Let me
It's not
share
the
screen
third
here.
eye. It's not the pineal gland, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah.
And
They just call it something different.
well, again, I'm preaching to the choir. You are in your own essence are a master student, obviously.
I'll
So
try.
these reptilians, just like you and me, they have a third eye. Bro, what the fuck is going on?
Mm,
They have a third eye.
mm.
What the hell? And I'm not talking
That's
I'm not
crazy.
talking, oh yeah, come metaphysically and spiritually and according to allegory. No, motherfucker. They have a retina in their fucking skull that can see. And this isn't just one type of lizard. Go get you one of the most famous pets in terms of reptilians is a bearded lizard. Get your ass a bearded lizard and let that bitch grow a little bit. Its third eye will pop out. Get you an iguana or something. Its third eye will pop out after it gets a little a bearded dragon, after it gets a little size on it.
Mm.
So now you got a third eye, and these damn reptilians got a third eye. So Inky, he creates us. That's why we got this third eye, just like the reptilians. Inky creates us, and he creates several other groups. Well, the first ones he created are going to be the Lumerians and the Atlanteans. And the Atlanteans in particular, they are way smarter. We have 64 codons, but of the 64, only 22 of them or 21, don't get me to lying. Of the 64 codons that we have currently, right now in our bodies, we have 64 codons. Of the 64 codons, only 21 are activated. In addition, these aren't just regular codons, this is light code. Just like with the reptilian. Oh, my reptilian doesn't have a third eye. Put some light on that bitch. Oh, crumb, I'm scared of the dark. You can't see in the dark. Bitch, put enough light in there, you still can't see. Now what? Sun worshippers. So anyway, these light codons that we have right now are currently in the dark. They're not on, they're off. And once we turn these light codons, then we'll evolve, or go into our true form rather. But anyway, so now these Atlanteans, they have, I don't know how many, but more than 21. They got more than 21 of their light codons on. And this pisses off Inky. I'm sorry, excuse me. This pisses off Enlil. Enlil doesn't like this. And I have to be honest with you. Oh, Crumb, you know, Yahweh's the devil, Yahweh's a trickster, and Yahweh's bad. Well, brother, I feel the same way he felt about us becoming too smart is the same way we feel about AI becoming too smart. Bitch, I don't want AI to be smart. I can relate to Enlil. You motherfuckers are too smart, and I don't think it's going to end well. So now they create an atomic bomb, which is going to violate the Galactic Federation's policy. And they already let off one nuclear bomb, which got rid of the dinosaurs. Remember, all the dinosaurs that you see in the museum are plaster. Why? Because dinosaur bones give off radioactivity. Let me kind of pull a receipt. Did you know that dinosaur bones give off electricity, radioactive energy? Dinosaur bones give off radiation. Did you know that?
I did not.
Why the fuck are dinosaur bones giving off radiation? Let me just share screen real quick. So now you got dinosaur bones giving off radiation? What the freak? Why are dinosaur bones radioactive?
I mean,
Because they set off.
there could have been an asteroid. It could have had a. I mean, there is a lot of radiation in space. If the asteroid is true, the whole asteroid story. But also, I don't even know if I believe the dinosaur fossil like idea that they could be dragons. You know what I'm saying? Like who knows? You know, so there could be a plausible explanation for the radiation when it comes to the asteroid, if that's true. That's probably how they probably use the asteroid to debunk what you're probably getting at. Is my point.
Well, let me see. Are asteroids radioactive?
Yeah, let's find out. Let's find out. Generally not dangerous. High level radioactive objects, generally not, but they do
Okay.
contain trace amounts. So you wouldn't imagine that it would irradiate all of the dinosaurs' fossils. So yeah, good point.
Yeah, I never heard about asteroids being radioactive, but I can't just say because I never looked, so I want to stay humble. But anyway,
Of
ultimately,
course.
what happened was the um, the Anunnaki were chased here. There was a war, as it is above, it is below. There was a war in heaven. They were chased here, and when they were beefing and fighting, they let off an atomic bomb. That a part of the fallout was the eradication of the dinosaurs, which broke galactic law. So after it broke galactic law, you weren't allowed to set off a nuclear weapon. So Inky Enlil finds out that Inky has activated all these goddamn codons, which is bad news. So Enlil takes one of their nuclear weapons, detonates that bitch, and sinks that bitch. After he sinks it, then Enlil's in trouble. Inky's in trouble because he wasn't supposed to be creating these people with that much intelligence. But anyway, Inky creates the people in the Fertile Crescent. He creates the people over on those two islands, Lemuria and Atlantis. He creates another set of people who he puts uh, in the southern hemisphere, Hades, the Australia, whatever case like that, and he tries to create another group, but he's running out of time because they're on his ass because they're about to formalize officially the Galactic Federation. So he goes to the inner Earth reptilians and asks them to help him, and they help him create another group of people. Those group of people that they helped him create were the Asians, and
Mm. So
Inky was
we start getting the splitting up of the races starts to happen.
because of Inky. Um, But the first people were in the Fertile Crescent, the woolly haired people. You can take that as black people if you want. There's no such thing as black, but let's just go with that. He creates the Asians, um, and he's pissed off. Inky's pissed off because the Asians are a very bad makeup of people. Remember, only 16% of the world's cars are in Asia, but Asian car accidents account for more than 50% of the world's car accidents. Do you know why? Have you ever heard that Asians in America are bad drivers?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
Because of their eyes. They have a very poor peripheral vision.
Mm. I mean,
But
yeah, you could see that. You know, it'd probably be kind of hard to see to your left and right.
with eyes like this,
Yeah, it's a little tricky.
they don't have a field of vision like you and I have.
Hmm.
So
Man, that's crazy. So the Zachariah Sitchin, um, he all of this comes from most of what he wrote, but he was an Israeli Jew, and
Russian.
how much of it do you take literal, like Space Federation, or how much of it is this like alternate dimension? How much of this is physical to you? Is this all physical, or were we partially etheric back then when this was occurring? Or what's your take on that? Like, how are you looking at it? You know, as far as
Well, a lot of this stuff fits in with stuff that has nothing to do with Zachariah Stitchin. And, he didn't necessarily write this. He translates this from the Enuma Elish, um, which are ancient texts. And I was talking to one of these Negroes who they were like, yeah, they didn't have writings back then. Well, during that time, there were a lot of writings. Um, in fact, this one black person where we're arguing, and he says, yeah, they had books back then. Bitch, they did not have books back then. They had tablets.
papyrus? Yeah, yeah.
After well, papyrus come later. First there were tablets. After tablets, there are scrolls. That's why
Mm.
when yo that's why when your ass buy a tablet, you scroll on it. It's a play
Mm.
on words from back then. So now all of these written text, cuneiform, things like that, they're starting to translate this. And this is why, remember, in the beginning was the word, and the word was God. In the beginning was one of the contingencies, one of the conditions of slavery was that you niggas can't read. That's why to this day, niggas don't know enough words. Most people who try to debate me, they don't know enough words. And, and this is important. Why? Because go back to the story of Babylon. What did God first, goofy ass, said he's not the author of confusion. This is New Testament. Go back to the Old Testament. I'm going to use the language to confound them. Bitch, you are the author of confusion.
Hmm.
Literally.
If
I'm
they're
going to
the
change.
same, if they're the same entity, yeah, yeah, definitely.
Well, according to Psalms, uh, God sits among gods. God sits among the other gods verse. So according to the Bible, this is not my Bible. This is the Bible. Psalms 80, chapter 82, verse 1, it says, God sits among the other gods. You
S-
sit among them?
So do you think that we like the space that we've been told? Do you think that that is all true? Like that's what it is on its face?
No,
Okay.
no.
So then when we're talking about space confederation and aliens, etc., is it in the sense when most people hear this, they're thinking that they're coming from Sirius, the Dog Star, Pleiades, whatever, and they're coming here and doing these things. Is this how you're viewing it whenever you're kind of walking through these stories that you read in your research, or again, is it like entities that kind of interact with us, or how are you looking at this?
Well, when we say space, we get confused. Say outer space. It's not outer space. It's inner space. You ever see the movie Men in Black?
Yes.
In the movie Men in Black, they that's partly taken from Zachariah Stitchin. They're looking for a cat because a part of that great war, it was the reptilians versus the felines, but the felines were called I forgot the name, but anyway, let's just go with that. The reptilians versus the felines. That's why to this day, your cat in your house has the same eyes as the fucking python that you got in the aquarium tank. Why they both got the same eyes? So no, don't worry about it. So with that said, there was a war between those two entities, and the movie Men in Black, they're looking for Orion's belt. What they don't realize is Orion's belt is a cat's is on a cat's neck, and it's inside the cat. And when Agent K and Agent J finally find Orion's belt, the oh yeah, cats hiss like a snake as well. Yeah, a Birdman is on it,
Hmm. Shout
and
out
they're all.
Birdman.
Shout out to Birdman. In addition to that, not only are there cat aliens, reptile aliens, or there were bird aliens as well. This whole angel thing, bro. What the fuck is going on with you guys and birds?
And part of me, see, because I think that a lot of what you're telling me is merging in with something that I recently got into in my research, and that's the Book of Jasher, where it talks about man, as I mentioned earlier, where it talks about man mixing beasts together and to spite God, and that was taken out of the Bible, but it was referenced in the Bible in a different book. It says, doesn't it say in the Book of Jasher that this, and this will happen or whatever? Well, why would they reference a book if they took it out? So they did the same thing with Enoch. And when you go look in the book of Enoch, it's the same story of these fallen angels, these whatever they are, whether they're physical entities or angelic beings coming down and teaching us things. And then we take that forbidden knowledge and we go run with it, genetic engineering. And now you get what you're talking about. A mixture of these animals. Why is there all this DNA inside of a cat? Why is there this inside of that? I do. There is some weight to this. I do think there's some weight to this. I don't know if all of, the Anunnaki story of every man being created this way is 100%, but there's something to it, definitely.
There is no such thing as evolution. Evolution is a lie to hide eugenics. But ultimately, back to what we were saying. So, with that said, in the movie, they finally find Orion's belt, and instead of it being outer space, it's inner space. They also try to tell you about space in the movie Ant Man, which
Mhm.
Ant-Man, in my opinion, was a B-list, character, maybe a C-list, maybe a D. I hated Ant-Man, but the fact that Ant-Man was trying to tell us about space, I gotta give them their flowers for that. So when we talking about space and we're telling, "Oh, look up," maybe look within. I'm not saying look within yourself, but looking within something, you're gonna see another world.
Mm. Yeah, and then in the end of, I mean, fuck, if you look at the end of the Men in Black, it goes from the locker to this, and it's showing the macro, micro, where the whole universe that they're inside of is just inside of like a cell in a big ass fucking giant or whatever, you know? So yeah, no, I definitely, that's some deep shit right there, man. Now this was, this was a change of pace for my show. We do have our opinions on my show, and I like to bring people that take different kind of outlooks on shit, switch it up a little bit. So I enjoyed this conversation. We had a mix in the chat. I think we got some fun people, so it was a good time. But yeah, man, I could talk to you for a long time. I really appreciate it. We did about an hour and a half. You got anything else you want to throw in there?
Yeah, on a I to the listening audience, brother Andrew asked me what I want to talk about, and I said I want to talk about penises. He said, "Oh, you want to talk about women? No, I want to talk about men." So
I
maybe in the
thought he was
next show,
saying women's penises or something. I'm like, what are we talking about? The trans women? What are we getting at? Now
so
imagine my, my fright whenever we're chilling. My man's eating a yogurt. He's like, I'm trying to talk about some penises, and I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, do I leave or do I just go ahead and run with this? I'm like, all right, dude, sure.
he
I was
called me
like,
out
this
for
is
my yogurt.
oh God, bro. So yeah. No, but this was fire, man. I appreciate it. It was definitely it was a change of pace, man. I really appreciate this conversation. There's a lot of that, like I said, the conspiracy world, there's a whole what would you call it? Echo chamber, I guess, of this Black Islam kind of sphere. And I just wanted to kind of bring some of that over here and talk about that shit because I think that it doesn't get talked about in most of the other conspiracy space. It's almost like in its own world. So I just wanted to kind of get into that. So I appreciate you.
I just have one request before you let me go.
No, yeah,
Let's do it again.
of course. Anytime. Yeah, I'm pretty open. We'll get back on here. And do you have a show or do you do your videos? Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so I am your humble brother Crumb. I go by the moniker The Master Student. I was on YouTube, 50,000 strong. They took that channel down for hate speech, but listen, guilty as charged. I am on Facebook. I like to call it Fake Book, me and these funny names, right? I'm almost a quarter of a million. I'm like 200,014 up there, 214,000 up there. I just hit that. I'm also on Instagram. I had another Instagram account that was like 50. They took me down. Now I'm almost back to 40. So you can catch me on those crumb underscore snatcher underscore. But ultimately, crumb TV is where you can find me at. But listen, family, the numbers don't matter. It's about here. It's about now. You know where you can find me at? 6G, the
Mm,
ChillCast. Tap all the way in.
fuck yeah, tap in, man. Hey, I appreciate you, Crumb. You're gonna be back soon. Hey, thank you, everybody. We'll be back here this week, and we'll talk about that Super Bowl crazy fucking symbology coming. Peace out.